Om. In Vivekachudamani, Shankaracharya says that the Guru listens to the request of the disciple to explain what is bondage and how it has arisen and how one can attain liberation. And then the Guru says, Dhanyosi kritakrityosi pavitam te kulam tvaya yadavidya bandha muktaya brahmi bhavitum ichhasi. That you are dhanya asi, that you are blessed. Kritakritya asi, that you have achieved your purpose of your life. And te kulam pavitam, tvaya pavitam, and you have purified or sanctified your family, your entire lineage. Why? Because you want to get freedom from avidya, from ignorance. You want to get knowledge from ignorance. You want to get freedom from the bondage of ignorance. Avidya bandha mukti. And also, having attained that freedom, you want to become Brahmi Bhavitum Ichhasi. You want to become Brahman. So how can one become Brahman? We are always that, but we will, by our spiritual practices, we remove the ignorance. That is what we do. We are always the ultimate reality. There is no difference between Jivatma and Paramatma or Atman and Brahman, but we have forgot that, and the whole process of spiritual practice is an attempt to remove this ignorance, remove the darkness. And if we constantly think of Brahman or the ultimate reality, then we become or we attain or we realize, we again remember our true personality. Just like a person who has forgotten something, if constantly reminded, will remember. Similarly, we have forgotten our true personality and we remember that by being constantly reminded. ऋणम मोचन कर्तारः पितुः संति सुतादयः बंध मोचन कर्ता तु स्वस्माद् अज्ञः न कश्चन. Here again, the Guru emphasizes the fact that it is one individual who has to cut one's bondage from this world of ignorance. If a father incurs some debt, then the sons, after the passing away of the father, the property passes to the sons who are the heir to the property. So they can remove or they can pay back the debts of their father. But the ignorance or the bondage which one person has, and because of which one has to come again and again into this life, cannot be removed by any other person but oneself. So the other shlokas also emphasize on this point, that it is the individual who has to struggle for attaining liberation from this world. Mastaka न्यस्त भारादेहे दुःखमन्यै निवार्यते क्षुधादि कृत दुःखम तु विनाश्वेन न केनचित्. We see, particularly in railway stations, etc., where porters, coolies, they carry heavy loads on their head. These heavy loads, while they put it on their heads, they need the help of others, and also when they are keeping it down, they need the help of others. So this is the case with heavy load in which people carry on their heads.
But if somebody is hungry or somebody is feeling thirsty, you cannot take the help of other people to remove the suffering or misery caused by this hunger and thirst. That is what is told. Mastaka nyasta bharadehe dukkham anyehi nivaryate kshudadi krita dukkham tu vinasvena na kenachit. So, na kenachit, not by anybody can this dukkha or misery of hunger and thirst produced by hunger and thirst, etc., be removed by other people, though other people can remove the misery caused by mastaka nyasta bharadehe, by the heavy load kept on the head. Then Shankaracharya says, Patyam aushada seva cha kriyate yena rogina arogya siddhi drishta asya na anya anushtita karmana. Na anya anushtita karmana, not by the work done by other people, but only if you yourself follow the diet and medicine which is prescribed to you by a doctor in the case of a disease, will you get arogya siddhi, will you get cured. If somebody else eats that medicine or follows the diet, that person cannot cure you. You can cure only yourself. You can get cured only if you follow the medicine and diet yourself. Vastu Swarupam Sutaboda Chakshusha Svenaiva Vedyam Natu Panditena Chandra Swarupam Nija Chakshushaiva Nyatavyam Anyai Avagamyate Kim. The true nature of objects can be known only by clear visions. Futabodha Chakshusha. But Svenaiva Vedyam, that has to be known only by oneself, not Panditena. If people who are scholar come and tell, that will not help you. Like Nija Chakshushaiva Chandra Swarupam Nyatavyam, the form or the color or the shape of moon has to be known by oneself. Anyehi avagamyate kim. What good or what use is it if other people know it? So you have to know it yourself. Similarly, avidya kama karmadi pashabandham vimochitum kashaknuyat vinatmanam kalpakoti shatairapi. Even if there is 100 crores of kalpas or cycles of existence, even if somebody else tries for so much time, so long a period, that means impossible to expect that other people will get you vimochana or freedom, liberation from this samsara. What? From freedom from what? Avidya, ignorance, and that leads to kama, that leads to desire, and that leads to karma, that leads to further actions. So the bondage created by this, if some person thinks that one can be freed by other people, it is not possible. And now the different yogas are talked about. Na yogena na sankhena karmana no na vidyaya brahmatmaikatva bodhena moksha siddhyati na anyatha. Unless you have the idea of Brahma Atma Aikya or the identity of Atman and Brahman, unless you have this idea, if you just practice different disciplines like yoga, that is control of mind, and Sankhya, knowledge, or Karma Yoga, etc., that will not lead to the ultimate knowledge or liberation unless you know that the Atman and Brahman are the same thing. So the perspective should be very clear. Then you should also know that these are only different spiritual disciplines which will aid in understanding that knowledge. Veenaya Rupa Saundaryam Tantri Vadana Saushtavam Prajaranjana Matram Tanna Samrajaya Kalpate. So the Rupa Saundaryam, the beauty of the form of Veena, a musical instrument, classical Indian musical instrument, and also the skill of the person who is playing it, Tantri Vadana Saushtavam skill, is only for Prajaranjana. In olden days, a person, mostly the king, used to patronize, sponsor such artists who used to play. So the courtiers and the king is listening to the playing of Veena. But that playing is going to only please the king and the courtiers, only Praja, the audience. but it will not give the kingdom of the king to the player. So it will not give sovereignty or samrajya to the player. Similarly, if we were to expect that other people will help us in getting the realization, it will not happen. Or if we just wonder at the exuberance or the splendor of nature and just see it, it will not help us in getting the realization. We have to struggle ourselves to get the realization. Vag Vaikhari Shabdajari Shastra Vyakhyana Kaushalam Vaidushyam Vidusham Tadvat Bhuktaye Natu Muktaye. This Vag Vaikhari, the capability of speaking, eloquence, and Shabdajari, the different flow of words, different words, Shastra Vyakhyana Kaushalam, the ability, Kaushalam, to expound scriptures. They are Vaidushyam Vidusham. They are just for the Vidusham, for the enjoyment of the scholars, and that is only for enjoyment. Bhuktaye, natu muktaye. That will not help you in getting liberation.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.